to Goodbye Grains. Today we are making a hot coconut Mexican mocha. Now that kind of sounds like a tongue twister, but I promise you it is so tasty. This is the perfect little treat on a Saturday or Sunday morning, kind of rewarding yourself for making it through the work week. Now the reason why it's called a Mexican mocha is because it has cinnamon and cayenne pepper in it. I know a lot of coffee shops kind of make lattes and stuff like that where they have some cinnamon and pepper type background notes that kind of give you a little bit of additional spice and kind of are a little different than maybe a classic hot chocolate or regular mocha. So for the ingredients, we're going to be using some coconut milk. In this mug here, this is half full of very strong coffee. Now, if you happen to have an espresso maker, you can certainly use espresso for this. If you're not a huge coffee fan, you can probably just substitute this for some, a little bit of water. The main reason that you want at least half of your mug full with coffee or espresso or something like that is because you want to take the coconut milk and make it a little bit lighter. Just straight coconut milk is incredibly thick. My husband loves drinking it, but it's a little much for me. And then we have the cinnamon and a little bit of the cayenne pepper that I was talking about. We're also going to add a dash of vanilla. And then for our mocha flavoring, we have some dark chocolate. Now this is 70% dark chocolate. We're not using this whole entire bar. We're just going to use about an ounce or so. And all of these ingredients make one coconut mocha. So we're not using the entire can of coconut milk. We're just using part of this, but I just got a fresh can out for this. So first thing we need to do is heat up the coconut milk. Okay, so I have my coconut milk in a saucepan over kind of like low heat. This has been sitting on the heat for about 90 seconds. Close to 2 minutes. So we're just gonna kind of keep an eye on that. You don't want it to boil over, but you want it to start forming tiny little bubbles kind of around the side. Now in here is a cup of the coconut milk, canned coconut milk. So in here is also 1 cup, so it's about, if you can see that, it's about half of the cup worth, or half of this mug worth of coffee, and this is really strong coffee. And then this is my chocolate, my dark chocolate. Now I melted this in the microwave. This is about an ounce of dark chocolate. This is, as I was saying in the beginning, 70% dark chocolate, but you certainly can use a darker chocolate, or if you prefer to not use as dark of a chocolate, you want it to be a little bit sweeter, you can do that as well. But we are going to add that into the hot coffee and kind of let that sit for a couple of seconds while we add in our cinnamon and our vanilla. So we're gonna add just a drop or 2 of the vanilla. And some cinnamon. I usually just kind of add a couple dashes of cinnamon. It really depends on how much cinnamon you like, but I would certainly stay closer to 1/4 teaspoon or a little bit less. And now for the cayenne pepper, you're literally going to add a pinch of it. So I almost pretty much just stick my finger in there, and whatever kind of comes off on my finger, I'm talking like barely any, I just sprinkle that tiny little bit in. So you're probably only getting, not even an amount that's recognizable in like a teaspoon or anything like that, but that tiny little bit of heat is actually going to change the taste of this and give it a little bit of a kick. So I'm gonna start just kind of stirring the spoon around, and what you really want to do is get the coffee and the chocolate to kind of meld together. And we can keep an eye on our coconut milk. This is starting to boil, so I have one of these kind of whisk things. They're supposed to help kind of froth the milk, so you definitely want to make sure this milk doesn't burn. So I usually just kind of start whisking this. Once the bubbles start forming around the sides, I just keep whisking this for another 30 seconds or so. And then allow it to kind of continue to boil a little bit now that it's getting a little frothier, and then kind of go back to my coffee and chocolate. So you want to keep stirring this until all of the chocolate that you had on your spoon is almost off, and that means that it actually has melded? I don't even know if that's a word, but has fully incorporated, that's probably better, into the coffee. So you can kind of just keep stirring this, make sure you're keeping an eye on the milk. If you happen to have like a full espresso machine that has a steamer, you can definitely just steam the coconut milk. I do not have one of those, so I usually just do it on the stovetop. So every minute or so, as long as it's not boiling over, I'll just kind of go through and whisk this. And you definitely want to kind of whisk it vigorously with one of these frother type things to actually get some bubbles to form. Definitely don't walk away from it though, because you do not want the coconut milk to burn. So the chocolate and the coffee has almost completely come together. There's just a little bit left on the spoon. And my milk is nice and hot and is frothy, so I can actually turn the heat off and just give it one more quick whisk. And then we can add it right onto the top of this chocolate mixture. So now you want to be very careful, you don't want to burn yourself. So you can just slowly stream this in. And then I usually top it with just another sprinkle or two of cinnamon. If you happen to have any extra like coconut whipped cream or something like that in your fridge, you can certainly add a little bit of a little dollop of that, but there's obviously a ton of coconut milk in this. So it is ready to serve. So I hope you'll give this coconut mocha a shot. It's a nice treat for a breakfast or brunch, or if you are having friends over to kind of celebrate the holidays. Everybody is going to like this. You can certainly leave the coffee portion out of it and kind of make a little bit of a spin on it for kids. I doubt you want your kids bouncing off the walls with a ton of caffeine, but this is a great treat. I will see you guys next week with a Christmas breakfast bake recipe. It's perfect for Christmas morning, really any time of the year, but it's kind of a nice little treat. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.